Hi, I'm Mai. I'm a guest student here at the Green and Climate Research Center, and I'm working here in the lab on fish larvae stomachs, and looking at small stuff is my thing. I'm looking at polar cod, which is a really important fish species in Arctic ecosystems, and I'm looking at really small individuals, so fish larvae, under this microscope, cutting open their stomachs and trying to figure out what is inside of their stomachs. So basically I'm just looking at the really small animals that the small fish have eaten and trying to figure out what they are. I've prepared just this fish, so we could look at it under the microscope, and also from another fish I took already out the intestines and the stomach, so we could be looking at that as well. So this is part of the stomach that I dissected out of the fish, and here on the sides you can see two small copepods, so they're in really good condition and they look really similar to what we saw in the key. And in other instances we get stomach contents in really bad condition, where it's really a kind of a mystery, like what it could be. It takes a lot of detailed work to figure out what species this could be. And so I'm not just trying to identify which species it is, but also like how old are the prey items, and just trying to measure the size. And later we can use this data to also calculate other important factors, like what is the caloric input that the fish had, or stuff like that. So polar cod in Arctic ecosystems is a really relevant fish species because it plays a huge role in how energy is transferred from the basic levels of the food chain up to the higher levels. So as we talked about, they are eating the small zooplankton. The zooplankton eats the algae, like the really basis of where energy is produced in the Arctic. And the polar cod themselves, they are eaten, for example, by seals, by bigger fish. Those are eaten by polar bears or by humans, and so they just play a huge role in transporting the energy from the lower levels of the food web up to the higher levels. And polar cod themselves are really adapted to an Arctic climate, so they are really adapted to cold temperatures. They're connected with the sea ice ecosystem, and changes in the Arctic, like a warming climate in the Arctic, can lead to changes in the population of the polar cod, and this way also affect like the whole rest of the ecosystem.